So I'm Christie and I work in the field now. So I'm just going to share my story with you guys. So first, confidentiality. Just please keep in mind if you know anybody from my story or anything like that, maybe not share it with them. It's my third time sharing my story, so I am like really nervous. Even though it's my third time, I'm still nervous every time. Um, these are my personal experiences and opinions. It's not like proven facts. So I didn't research this and be like, yeah, this is what it is. Don't be like Christy said it, so it's true. Um, Please save questions for the end, just because I get really sidetracked. And respect. So like, if you have your phones, that's fine, but just like don't have them on maybe, or like turn your volume off. And self care. Like if something I say triggers you or triggers something for you guys, like don't feel bad if you have to leave. Like it's fine with me. Take care of yourself first. So what we're going to cover is I wrote a couple of case studies for both my parents, one for each. A brief overview of my life, so abuse, neglect, physical abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, trauma. My personal self-care, so what I do to take care of myself. The signs that I showed of abuse and neglect that I feel like I showed as a child. And things that we need to know and do as child youth workers in the field. So my dad's case study, he refused family support and involvement. So he had a mom and a dad and a sister and family and things like that, but he didn't want support from any of them. Like my family would come over, my nana and like his mom and his sister would come over on Christmas and bring presents and stuff. But I would just shut the door. I'm like, no, like I don't want anything to do with you guys. And it was weird. He like would only let me sit on his lap and stuff, and wouldn't let me down to like hang around and see everybody. So I don't know. He has a son from a previous relationship. So I just found out like 2 years ago that I have a brother, and he's 3 years older than me and 3 days older than me. So it's weird, but he's pretty cool. I have him on Facebook now. Suspected depression. I mean, he wasn't ever like diagnosed with anything that I know of, but he self-medicated. He smoked a lot of pot, and sold pot. He was laid off and unemployed. He worked like at Sears for a long time and then just got laid off, and after that he decided to sell. And unaware of resources available to help. So of course there are resources available, but if you don't know about them, you can't utilize them, right? So my mom, mental health suspected to be unstable. I'm not sure if she's diagnosed with anything or what she's diagnosed with, but now looking back, I'm like, there's something not right. She was always like in space kind of thing. So because of that, she was the black sheep in the family. She has 4 other siblings, and she's the oldest, but the only one that really talked to her was my grandma, her mom. She had an abusive husband, which I saw, and then once she left, it came on me. My mom never worked that I knew of, and again, unaware of resources available to help. So I just put this quote because I think it's important. Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection, and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. So I was lucky enough to have my child youth worker and a woman named Rhonda, who's kind of like my mom. She took me in when my mom left, and she watched my sister and I when my dad had to go to work, and he still had his job. So I'm just going to go into the key events. So my father abused my mom, so they'd always fight. My mom would try to like hide my sister and I away so that we didn't see it. My mom cheated on my dad, and then my dad left first on my sister's birthday, so it was like November 18th, and he was gone for a bit, and he lived with his sister, actually, ironically. And then he came back on Christmas, and my mom left on Christmas, so like Christmas morning, we were like, oh cool, there's a cab out front, like my dad's coming back, because there was a cab out front, he had all of his stuff with him. And my mom was blow drying her hair, and we thought it was kind of weird that she didn't wake us up because it's like Christmas morning. We didn't wake up till like 9 or something like that. We're like, oh, well, whatever. Our family's gonna be back together. Like we were really excited about it. Then my mom just like rushed out the door, and my dad came in, and she didn't tell us that she was leaving, but I guess she was supposed to have told us. So my mother leaves on Christmas when I was 10, so like 2000. So my dad, once my mom left, started abusing me. So he would like kick me, punch me, bite, burn me, pull my hair, leave marks where no one would see, because that's generally what abusers do. He would always say things like, if you ever tell anyone, like they're not going to believe you, they're going to believe me because I'm an adult, you're a kid, things like that, just to scare me so that I never say anything. I got a broken collarbone, so my dad pushed me down the stairs and I got caught between the banister and the wall. So I got a tattoo on it just to remind myself that I'm strong. Um, I took on the role of mother, obviously, once my mom left, so I had to do things like laundry and cook and clean and do everything that my mom would have done. So I like washed laundry in our bathtub because we didn't have a washer or dryer. And I had to use shampoo and would hang it to dry. I'd sweep, mop, clean the walls, do the dishes. If I did it wrong, I had to do it again. If I did it wrong, I had to do it again and again. I packed lunches for my sister for school and for my dad for work. Even though we didn't have much food, like we get the food box sometimes, and even if the bread had like mold in it, I still had to pack lunch, like bring it so that we didn't look bad. And now I'm able to prepare a meal with little to nothing, so that's good, I guess. um, so CAS was called after my mom left, and I don't know who called them, but I think it was somebody at school because I'm pretty sure my sister went to school and was like, I don't want to go home because I don't want to see my dad and my sister fighting. And we were always like, don't say anything, don't say anything. Like, I don't want to get taken away because my dad would say things to us like, it's way worse out there. Like, if you get taken away and put in a home or like in a group home or something like that, it's way worse than this. And being a kid and living in the complex, like a lot of people are in the same situation as me. So I thought it was normal. So I was like, maybe it is worse out there. I don't know. So I thought I was protecting us if I didn't say anything. So he'd be like, you think it's bad here? Like, it's way worse anywhere else. So I just never said anything. But CAS was called and they came. And every time they came, they'd come to the school first. And then, so we knew that they were coming to the house. So we'd go home and be like, Dad, someone came and talked to us today at school. And he'd be like, oh no. Like, well, we got to clean the house. I'm going to go get groceries and fill up the fridge. Make it look like it's great here, So when they came, they didn't think anything was wrong because then we just stayed quiet and didn't say anything. So by grade 5 or 6, I was pretty much already in survival mode, trying to take care of myself and ensure that we didn't get taken away because that was scary for us. So my mom came back, like, probably a year after she left. What happened was she left, and she went with some guy who she met at a bar downtown, who was a trucker, and they left, and he, like, beat the shit out of her. And she came back, and my dad was like, I don't want the girls to see you like this, and, like, he wasn't always awful, which, if he was, I wouldn't have stayed, right? Like, abusers aren't always abusers all the time. Like, he was bad, but he was my best friend, too, at some time. So, like, he wanted to take care of us in that way and just, like, make sure that we didn't see her like that. But she ended up, like, coming out to the car anyway and seeing us, and she had 2 black eyes, a broken nose, and was just, like, not okay. So after she came back, I guess her and my dad talked for a bit, and then my sister and I went out with my cousin, and we came back, and they decided that we'd do visits with my mom for a bit, and she lived with her mom. So we started visits, like just weekend visits. And I started going to church, which is kind of random because I lived in the complex, but they came to the complex and they lured me in with hot dogs and games. They brought like a bouncy castle and like had a barbecue, and they're like, yeah, like Pentecostal church is great. And like, I'm not going to say anything bad about it, but I don't know. They were like, come on. So I was like, you know what? Like, I could really use some like positivity. Sure, I'll go. Let's check it out. So I started going to church, and like, they ended up becoming pretty much a family to me. Like, they kept me busy and out of trouble and positive and always, like, I felt like I'd do great, and I'd go to church and I'd come home and my dad would be like, oh, you think you're better than everyone else, get off your high horse. Just because you go to church doesn't make you better than anyone else. And I'm like, I never said I was better than anyone else. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he'd be like, the church only brought you and like all the other kids from the ghetto in to make themselves look better. They don't actually care about you. Like, nobody cares about you and stuff like that. So I'm like, cool. And he's like, if God really loved us, like, why are we in the situation we're in? And I'm like, good question. I don't really know. So the daily abuse continues. I always felt like trapped and overwhelmed and with my thoughts. And I was always in my head. I was that quiet kid. But I always was like, I know I need to get out of here. Like, in grade 10, in grade 9, I went to Nicholson, and then my dad didn't want to switch me schools, and I was getting bullied there. So I was like, well, I'm just going to figure it out on my own, get all the papers, you sign them, and then I'll just switch schools. So I did that. And then I remember in grade 10, I was at Centennial, and I was sitting at my locker, and I was like, you know what? Like, if I don't take care of myself, if I don't get myself out of this situation, no one's going to do that. And, like, it's crazy to be in grade 10 and realize that. So my dad always said, like, yeah, like, you guys have it so good. And I still wonder, like, today, how much actually happened versus, like, how much got twisted because I blacked out so much that I don't really remember. So I ended up stopping contact with my mother because I just didn't like going there. And I think because I was old enough to know that she left, and I don't know, I was 10, my sister was 7, so I was like, I'm over it. Like, I don't want to come visit you anymore. But my dad was like, no, like, that's my weekend time. You need to go. Like, I don't want you here. So I'm like, where do I go? I don't want to be there, and you don't want me here. What do I do? So but I just stopped going. Then I'd hang out with friends. My dad ended up having like several girlfriends throughout like the time that they broke up that all didn't get along with me, or I didn't get along with them. I don't know. So that sucked. My 18th birthday, my dad was like, you know what? Like, he pulled me aside. I had a couple of friends over, and he's like, you're 18 now, so that means that I don't get a check for you anymore. So you're gonna need to start buying everything from toilet paper to sandwich meat. Like, I'm not buying anything for you anymore. I'm not doing anything for you anymore, and you're gonna have to start paying rent. And I'm like, yeah, all right. I'm not paying you anything. So I got in a really big fight with my dad and his girlfriend before I left. And his girlfriend was on the phone with somebody, and she was just talking about how, oh, Tony's kids are so awful. And I was like, are you kidding me? And like, I just called her out on it when she was on the phone because I was 18. I'm like, oh, I got nothing to lose now. No one can take me away now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm old enough to go, so whatever. And it turned into a huge thing. And my dad was out on a bike ride at the time, and then he came back in, and she's like, I was like, you're an idiot kind of thing. And I was like, I'm going to go to the kitchen, just get, some food and make a salad and go to my room and just stay out of it. So I went to the kitchen and I grabbed because when I'd visit my grandma, she'd give us food to have because we didn't really have much. So I grabbed a giant tire bag and put a head of lettuce in there and a bunch of stuff in there to make a salad in my room. And I had it all in there, and then I had a knife in my hand because I'm not going to put it in the bag or it's going to stick out, right? So I'm going to walk upstairs and I have a knife in my hand. My dad comes in, and my dad's girlfriend's like, Tony, she tried to stab me. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm trying to make a salad. I did not try to stab you. Like, what? Like, are you nuts? So my dad and it just turned into a huge fight, physical altercation. He's like, are you kidding me? Like, you're not going to scare my girlfriends away like you scared your mother away, and da-da-da-da-da. And he ended up on top of me, had the knife, and tried to stab me, laying on top of me. And I still remember, he was just sweaty and heavy and on me, and I was like, no, this isn't going to happen. This isn't how I'm going down. So I grabbed the knife from him, and I threw it across the room, and I was like, fuck this. And I ran up to my room, and I put my dresser up against my door, and I called my child and youth worker. I was like, listen, I'm 18 years old. I lied to you. My dad's an idiot. I can't get taken away now. Help me figure this out. I need to go. So she ended up not coming back. My dad went for a bike ride, and he's like, by the time I get back, you better be gone. And I'm like, shit, what am I going to do? So I packed a backpack. I packed, some shampoo, my little stuffed teddy bear, and I went on MSN, and I was like, I don't know where to go. And, a bunch of my church friends were online. I was like, can I come over? I'm pretty sure I just got kicked out of my house, and I almost just got stabbed. And they're like, yeah, sure, come over. So I left, and I never really talked to him again. I ended up couch surfing for 3 weeks, between church friends, and then finally my pastor's wife was like, you can stay with us, and then we'll find you an apartment. And then somebody in the church had an apartment for rent, so I got an apartment, and then I applied for OSAP, so I'm like, how am I going to live? I don't have any job experience because I wasn't allowed to work, because if I worked and they were getting Ontario Works, my dad, then my income would go into that as the family income, and then they'd get less money, and then our rent would go up because it was geared to income housing. So I just wasn't allowed to work. So I'm like, how am I going to live? I don't know how to do anything, and I'm so scared of everything. So I ended up getting OSAP and coming to school. So I started college. I did my first placement at housing. That's why I met you. Because I was in the office with, was that Nicole?
Was it Tammy?
Tammy. She was my placement supervisor. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have a placement. And I was bawling. And then Kathy comes in. I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. And I'm bawling. I'm she probably thinks I'm an idiot, but whatever. So it was cool, though, to do my placement at housing because I lived there, in geared to income housing. And then obviously I left. But they never took on child and youth workers as placement students. They always took on just social service workers. So I was one of the first, there's 3 of us, child and youth workers they ever took on. And I was like, I have so many ideas because when I lived here, you guys used to have like backyard events. You guys would like do a ball hockey tournament and like a backyard cleanup and like have pizza for all the kids, and I want to do this and this and this. And they implemented all these things and we got to do them. So it was cool because I went in my dad's backyard and my mom's backyard because they both still live there separately in 2 different complexes. And I was doing ball hockey tournaments, like hosting stuff right in their backyard. This is pretty cool. And then after that, I did my placement at CAS, which is really awesome. And then I got to go to Florida and do Habitat for Humanity work. So while I was at CAS, I wanted to see my files. And if you do your placement there, if any of you guys have done or are going to do placement there, they generally ask if you know if you have been involved with them and if you have any files on record. Because if you do, you're not allowed to see them. Which is weird because I was allowed to see everybody's files, anybody's files, but not my own. So they blocked them from me. So if I wanted to see my own files, you have to make like a formal request to do that. So I did, and I was like, yeah, like I want to see my files, and you have the option to like meet the worker who is on your case if they're still working there. So I was like, yeah, like I want to meet her too. I want to see why she didn't do her job. So I met her. She ended up coming to my house, and it's funny because I was like, the same thing I would do before if CAS came to my house. I clean my whole house, and I'm like, yeah, I'm doing my dishes, I'm cleaning up. I'm like, and I had a flashback, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, they can't take me away. I'm 18 years old. Why am I so nervous about this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to do anything. So she ended up coming to my house, and she showed me my files, and I was only able to see some of it because they blacked out everything that everybody else had said. It was basically just statements that I had made or what they observed about me. So I didn't really get anything from it because I'm like, I don't know what this means. There's nothing here. I didn't say anything. So she's like, I feel like I didn't really help you today. I'm like, you didn't. And she's like, is there anything I can do or say that might be helpful to you? And I was like, well, I just have a question. I'm just wondering if, in your time in the field, have you ever seen this? Like seen somebody who was a client, like as a child or whatever, as an adult? And she's like, well, yeah, of course, all the time. But generally, if I see them, it's because I'm seeing, like, going to take their kids away. You know what I mean? Or, like, investigate their kids. I'm like, but that's not what I mean. I mean, like, have you ever seen somebody who's in the field, who has a job, who's taking the program and doing well and has their own apartment? And she's like, in my 20 years? Like, no. And I was like, it's good to get that confirmation from a CAS worker. So I met my first girlfriend, then I'm gay, and I didn't want to admit it because I'm like, I have so much going on that like I can't be gay on top of it. Like I already have too much to worry about right now, and this is not something that I need to deal with right now. But when I was in college, like Sandy Forsay, do you guys know Sandy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. She was my counselor. She wasn't a teacher here yet. She was a counselor here. So she was my counselor, and I was like, I gotta tell you something, Sandy. I think I'm gay. And she's like, oh, okay. And she's like, I'm like, but I don't know if I am or not. Like, I think that maybe it's because, like, my mom wasn't around. You know what I mean? Maybe I just like girls because my mom wasn't around. I'm not gay. And she's like, Christie, that's not why. And I'm like, well, maybe it's just because my dad's an idiot. Maybe I just don't like guys because of that. She's like, Christie, people are just born gay. And I'm like, fuck. Like, all right, I guess I'm gay. So I ended up coming out to Sandy that way, and then I came and talked to you, and I was like, I have to tell you something. I'm so gay, and I was so embarrassed and so scared. And like, Kathy was cool with it. And then I told all my friends and all that. And so, like, I don't know, it's not like, it's kind of a big deal, obviously, to come out and stuff like that, but it's a huge deal when you go to church. So I went to church at that time. Obviously, that's all I had. I didn't have my family anymore. I had some friends, but they were mostly church friends. So I was like, well, yeah, I'm gay, and my friend went and told everybody in church, and my pastor's wife called me and goes, I have to talk to you about something. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. She's like, do you have a girlfriend? I'm like, yeah, I do. And she's like, so you're gay? Yeah. And she's like, well, you know what? I would have liked to see you make it to heaven, but unfortunately, because of the choices you've made, you're not going to make it there. And she said that quote, and I remember it to this day, and I bawled. And I was like, you're an idiot. And I just hung up, and I went back to church maybe like twice after that. And like, you can't get kicked out of a church, but they can definitely make you feel like absolute garbage that you don't come back. And that's pretty much what happened. So I was like, cool, lost everything. But I had a girlfriend, and her family was really supportive, so that was good. And I had my friends, and I had the staff here, which are really great. So I ended up moving in with my girlfriend. Like, not right away, of course, but like, we moved in together. We were together for like probably a year, and she was really supportive and good. But we worked together at the YMCA. So she worked with the toddlers, and I worked with like school-age kids. And so we always saw each other. And when we broke up, it was real awkward because we were always running into each other. So then we broke up. I got my own apartment and job, and I kept my job in the field, but I was looking for other jobs and things like that. But I'm like, I'm not gonna like not be successful just because we broke up, you know. So I got my own apartment. I graduated on Dean's List. And then, kind of a big deal, I guess. And then, I was upset because, like, we broke up, and I'm like, well, what do I have here? You know what I mean? Like, I don't have family, they suck. Like, I always Skype my friends, so, like, I started looking for jobs outside of Belleville, and I was like, where can I go? What can I do? And then I saw this, like, I got, like, a pop-up ad of Disney Cruise Line was hiring, so I was like, I want to apply for that. Like, let's see. Like, I never thought I wanted to work on a cruise ship, because I was like, I just want to work in the field and, like, help and stuff like that, but I was like, this is temporary, let's do it. So I applied, and I heard back, and I ended up going to work for Disney. So I lived in Florida for 6 months, and then we cruised to the Bahamas and back for 6 months. And then I came home, and I was like, why am I back in Belleville? Like, I was just in the Bahamas for 6 months, and I was so tanned, and everyone's like, why did you come back? I'm like, I don't know. Like, so then I went on stress leave, because I was like, oh, like, why did I come back? You know what I mean? I was like, where am I going to work now? Where am I going to stay now? Like, what am I going to do now? So I had to get all my things back and start over again. So after that, I got a job out of the field. It was my job. I got a job at Herbal Magic, surprisingly. And it was okay. I was not in the field, but I was like, well, I'll do it. It's sales. I was good at it, but I didn't really like it. I feel bad pressure selling people, like cute little old ladies. I felt really bad, but I had to do this to make money, you know. So we had a training in Ottawa, and that's where I met Ashley, my partner. And I ended up moving to Ottawa, and now I have a job there. I work in the schools as a supply EA or a supply school support counselor, so I'm both a child and youth worker and EA. But my main job is at a daycare, a privately owned daycare. I work for Run-Through Family Children's Services, but I work for them in a daycare with a little boy who has autism. He's nonverbal and very aggressive, so I have to wear Kevlar sleeves like up to here. He gets me all the time. Yeah, like, I'm doing okay, I guess. So it's easier to build up a child than it is to repair an adult. Choose your words wisely, obviously. I mean, so how the abuse affects me immensely. I have anxiety, like huge, and I've always had anxiety. And looking back now, I'm like, as a child, like I just shouldn't have been that anxious. Like that's not normal. Like, I learned probably when I was in college. That's when I learned like everything. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, okay, like that's what that is. That's what that means. I used to take the bus here because I don't drive. So I take the bus to school every day. And on the bus, like, I just have, like, panic attacks all the time. I get on the bus and I'm like, okay, someone's sitting right there. Do I sit beside them? Do I sit on the inside? Do I sit on the outside? What do I do? Okay, it's almost my stop. Do I pull it? When do I pull it? Before? Do I pull it when I'm really close? Okay, do I go out the front door or the back door? Everyone's looking at me. What do I do? And, like, obviously, everyone's not looking at me. That's just how I felt. And I've always felt like that. And now I know that it's anxiety. But I never knew what it was. I have major depressive disorder as well. So, like, some days I just would be happy to sleep all day. But I have no energy. I want to call in sick a lot, but I don't because I know that I need to make money and, like, get out of bed. And it makes me feel anxious. It's just a cycle having depression and anxiety because it's like I feel like I should be doing more, but I'm too anxious to do more. So I feel like I should be doing more, but then I feel guilty because I'm not doing more. And, like, it sucks. But it's something I deal with. I black out the past a lot, like I said. Like, there's so much I don't remember or I think happened and maybe didn't. When it comes to memories of physical abuse, I can barely remember any. But it's the emotional abuse that definitely sticks with you. And, like, people say, like, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words don't hurt. Like, that's not true. Like, obviously, I'm sure you guys know you're in the field. My dad would, like, when we'd fight, like, physically, like, this is what I remember the most, is that after we'd fight, he'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, I bought you some pop and chips for your lunch, I bought you Mr. Noodles, like, everything's great, like, don't tell anybody, and I'm like, I got pop and chips. I'm not saying a thing. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't tell anybody because I was scared too. Triggers. So a couple of triggers for me are, I was in Kathy's class. I say this every year when I was in your class. And there was a video that we watched, and it was about abuse and neglect. It was physical abuse. And I was sitting there, and I was like, hey, Amy, does it smell like pot in here? And she's like, no. And I was like, I swear to God, I smell pot right now. And I, hey, Tanisha, you smell pot? She's like, no. What the fuck? So I'm like, Kathy, I swear to God, I smelled pot in your class. Like, while we were watching this video, what's wrong with me? And she's like, well, I don't know. Maybe it's just like, because I was physically abused, obviously, as I said. My dad smoked a lot of pot. So for me, that was a trigger to see, you know, like stories about physical abuse. I was like, oh, weird. Like, that came back to me. Another one is when I left home, I brought shampoo with me, which is one of the few things I brought. And it was a red herbal essence shampoo. And now whenever I smell it, I'm like, it reminds me of that time I left home. And music from 2008, because that's the year that I left. Any song from them, pretty much, I'm like, oh, that reminds me of home, and I don't like it. So, flashbacks, which is my next thing. Triggers cause flashbacks. I like to think I have confidence, but I don't really. I was just doing a first aid and CPR course like 2 weekends ago, and I was there, and I was hanging out with like 3 of my other like coworkers were there, and I remember I was like, oh no, like she's coming around, like I don't want her to call on me. I don't want her to get me to like do the rap in front of everyone. This sucks. I gotta redo it, and I'm like just like freaking out about it because I'm so anxious. And Mandy's like, the girl who I work with is like, Christie, it's not a big deal. Like, just calm down. Like, you're too hard on yourself. It's okay. And I'm like, okay, I guess you're right. But I was freaking out about it. So I used humor to lighten situations, obviously, as you could probably see. Because like if I'd never laughed, like I'd be so sad and depressed, and like, so I just try to laugh it off. I'm pretty proud and stubborn, so like if I'm upset, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna be proud and laugh and pretend that I'm not mad. I like to think I'm independent, but now that I'm in a relationship, I'm not as independent as I was. But I'm pretty like keep to myself, shut down type of thing. I'm determined. Like if I want something, I'm gonna work my ass off and I'm gonna get it. Like if I want it, I'm getting it. Doesn't matter what I have to do. I'll figure out a way and I'll get it. I like to minimize situations. So like if something really huge happened, like it might be huge to somebody else, and it's not a big deal. Because I don't want to talk about it. I like to avoid things. Just kind of bad. But I know about it, so I'm trying to work on it. And I have an ideal, perfect picture of life. So I don't necessarily know how things are supposed to be. You know, like I left home when I was 18, so that was 7 years ago now. So I like to say like, and maybe I just say it to make myself feel better, I don't know, but like I left home at 18 and like I didn't live a life that was normal or, you know what I mean, like how things should be. So getting out of there, I feel like, it sounds funny to say, but like I'm 7 years old really, because I'm still learning. I'm relearning everything, like how things are supposed to work and how things are supposed to be and what's normal and okay. So how the abuse affects me physically. I have a stomach ulcer, and it's like real bad. So I take medication for it. When I lived at home, I used to make myself sick a lot, and that's bad. But my dad was like, you're never going to go for a walk. You always say you're going to go for a walk, and you're not going to go. Like, you're going to be the size of your sister. And he'd go on, because my sister's a pretty big girl. She has something called Prader-Willi, which is like an eating disorder, but like backwards. Like, she can eat and eat and eat and never get full and gain so much weight. My dad was always like, you're going to be just like Callie, and you're fat, and you're disgusting, and da-da-da-da-da. No one's going to like you. And I'm like, she's probably right. So I started making myself sick, and now I have a stomach ulcer. I don't know if that's why, but so if I don't take my pills, I just throw up all the time. So I'm often nauseous. I get migraines like once a month, like to the point where I have to go to bed and shut all the lights off and just try to sleep. I still have nightmares and sleep issues. And by sleep issues, I mean, like, sometimes I could sleep for days. And then other times I can't sleep at all. Like, I'm just like, what is going on? I have poor physical health. I'm technically obese. I don't like to walk, but I try to. I'm trying to get better at it, you know. And I think that that's because, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm just guessing, I think that's because when I lived at home, we didn't have much food. And now I'm like, fuck you, Dad. I'm living on my own. I have a job. I have money, and I'm going to eat everything I want. So, and I do. And I'm a little sad about it, but I'm happy that I get to eat whatever I want now. And so I have high blood pressure because of that. And I have a doctor's appointment like later on today to figure out what's going on with that. And I have asthma. So those are my physical abuse signs. How the abuse affects my relationships. So not just like our relationship, but like my relationships with anyone, friends. I have a huge fear of abandonment. And like obviously my mom left when I was 10. My dad's a piece of shit. Everybody leaves. So I'm just like, oh no, like I don't want you to leave me. And like, so then I cling and smother because I'm like, no, like don't go. Like, what are you doing? Don't go. Tell me what's going on. I'm that crazy girlfriend. I'm that crazy friend. I'm like, no, like, what are you doing? Like, you're going to come back, right? You promise? Like, I'm trying to work on it, though. So then I have trust issues, which is not good. But, again, it's something I'm working on. I like to test and push people just to make sure that they are really going to come back. I like to do little things. And I don't even think about it. It's just subconscious. I go, maybe I was just, like, testing you. I don't know. And I have the ideal, perfect picture in my head of a perfect relationship. So how I think a relationship should be. So I don't really know because I don't really know what's normal and what's not. I don't know. And I don't know if that's necessarily because I was abused or if it's because I'm a human, but I don't know. I need to be reassured all the time. Like, I need you to be like, yeah, like, I do love you. I need Ashley to cuddle me all the time. Be like, no, I'm not going anywhere. It's okay. And with friends or in a relationship, I either attach way too quickly, like I'm like all over you, or I'm like, you're not going to see me again, you're probably going to go anyway, so fuck it, I don't care. Which is kind of bad. It's either or. And still, sometimes I just shut down. Like if I want to fight with somebody or there's confrontation, I'm like, oh, whatever, I'm done. I'm over it. I don't even want to deal with it right now. Shut down. So you can spend a lifetime trying to forget a few minutes of your childhood. And it's so true because there are some things that are very vivid in my mind that I am not going to forget, like the way my dad talked to me. I mean, that's still something that 7 years later I'm still struggling with and trying to be like, no, you're wrong. But
oh, sometimes this flashes on and off. It's an electrical thing. I can't figure it out. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have to wing it. So, self-care. I take medication for my anxiety, my ulcer, and my major depressive disorder. Counseling, which is something that I'm looking for in Ottawa right now, but it's something that I did like quite a bit. Because obviously, like, you guys all know being in the field, like, if you don't help yourself first, you can't help anybody else. You're useless to everybody, you know, you have to help yourself first. I have spa days to make myself feel better. I like paint my nails, maybe shave my legs, dye my hair, feel good about myself. Listen to music. I just chill out in my room, put in my headphones, just like, yeah. I write in third person, and I know that probably sounds really funny, like I'm crazy or something, but like I like to write as if, because like I'm not good at helping myself in situations. Like if I'm involved in the situation, I don't look at it like I would help, like the same way that I would help a friend if they were in that situation. So I like to write like, oh yeah, like Christie and so this situation. So I'm on the outside looking in. Then I'm like, what would I say to them if that wasn't me? You know what I mean? And then I'm like, okay, that's probably what I should do. So it helps a lot. I utilize my support system. So a lot of my friends are here. I'm living in Ottawa now, like past Ottawa and Arnprior. It's like near Quebec, like pretty close. So it's far from here. So I like to talk to my friends if I need help, and obviously Ashley and her family. And I talk about it, I think, later on. But like when I left the complex, I maybe only still talk to like 3 people from there. And it's important to like at least talk to one person from there, because I'm telling you guys this right now, but it's just a story for you guys because you weren't there, right? But like my best friend Jess, she was there, so she can be like, yeah, I remember. Like it's just good to always have at least one person. Exercise. It makes me feel better. I don't like to do it, but it's good to do. It's something I do if I'm feeling upset. Tanning. As you can see, I'm not doing it right now, but I used to tan. How often did I tan, right?
All the time.
And I loved it because people are like, your teeth are so white, and I'm like, no, they're not. I'm just tan. They're not really. So eating healthy, another thing. I'm working on it. Because you always feel better after you eat healthy. You're like, okay, now the next day I'm gonna eat healthy and keep going, and then I don't know. I just need to get back into the groove. Working for Herbal Magic, I should know better. And appreciate all my accomplishments. So when I worked on the ship, and like I always get thank you notes from you guys, and when I worked on the ship, I brought them with me, and like the room's really depressing on a ship. It's really tiny, like probably literally from the desk to like the wall. Like it's not maybe like here. It's not that big. So I'm like, and you have a roommate, and it's like, oh god, this is shitty. So I brought all my thank you cards, and I was like, I'm gonna decorate the wall, and I decorated on my bottom bunk, and then if I was having a bad day, I'd just look at it and be like, oh, they think I'm awesome, I must be okay. So appreciating my accomplishments, I'm reminded of like what I went through, because like I said, I like to black it out and forget about it. But then I'm like, well, you know what? Like if I overcame that, I'm sure I can get over this shit day. So the signs that I believe I showed as a child, so this side is the physical signs, and this is the emotional signs. I shrunk in the presence of adults. I was so scared of any adult, and like, still kind of am. Like I'd go to my friend's house and be like, what are your parents doing? Where are they? Like, I don't want them here. And like, I don't know, teachers, I'd be so scared of them. And it's so funny now working in the classroom, I try to look around to see if there were like any kids that were like me in that way, that like, if the teacher's like reading and they're like, okay, we're gonna go in this order. Like I was the kid that would be like, oh god, I'm gonna be on page whatever, and I'd read my page, and then they'd skip someone. I'd be like, shit, now I'm on this page, and I have to memorize that one and look through. So I don't know. I just look for that kid, and there's not one. Maybe there is, and they're just better at hiding it than I was. Because I really genuinely thought the teacher couldn't see me if I looked away. They can see me. What was I doing? So, abuse of pets. I know that's awful, and like, maybe I shouldn't talk about it, but I was really mean to my cats, and like I would bite myself and like just grab my cats, and like that's like psychopath stuff and crazy. But like, I don't know, my dad sucked, my parents sucked. I didn't know how to like get rid of my like get out my anger, I guess. So I didn't like kill any animals, don't worry. I just like was mean. My inability to relax or manage stress. I was always like can't sit still. I don't know what to do. Sad, withdrawn, and afraid. So it's kind of like shrunk in the presence of adults. I just was very quiet, and now I'm not. I'm loud, and I'm so loud that like people think I'm angry sometimes. I'm like, no, I'm just loud. I'm not even mad at you. Strong negative thoughts of oneself. So even as a kid, I was like, I'm a piece of shit, and like kids shouldn't feel that way, you know? Like it's not normal. It's not. And now looking back, I know like I wasn't a piece of shit. I just felt like that. And I had an extreme need of approval, which I think everybody kind of does, like, to a degree. And, like, I still kind of do. But I was really, like, trying to do well to, like, impress everybody and not make anyone mad at me. I didn't want anyone to ever be mad. Like, they're like, oh, can you do this? I'm like, absolutely, I can do it twice for you. Like, just because I didn't want anyone to be mad. And I, still to this day, I apologize profusely. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. And they're like, that's okay, just stop saying you're sorry. I'm like, I'm sorry for being sorry. So those are my signs of physical abuse, and then these ones are my signs of emotional abuse. Showed, like I said, overly compliant behavior. So, like, if somebody asks me to do something, I'm like, yeah, absolutely, I'll do that for you. Inappropriate grown-up behavior. So by that, I just mean that, like, as a 10 or 11-year-old, I knew too much for a kid. Like, I was just, like, I was an adult already. Like I said, like, being in grade 10 and sitting at my locker and deciding, like, I need to do something for myself. Who does that? Like, that's, I think, inappropriate grown-up behavior, or, depending on the situation, inappropriate childish behavior. Because I didn't know how to respond, and I'd just get real angry at things. But, like, I wouldn't even be angry. I'd be upset, but didn't realize or want to admit it because I'm stubborn. And delayed emotional development. So that's kind of what I mean by inappropriate childish behavior. Like, I just didn't know how to express myself, I guess. So my signs of neglect and trauma, again, like, this is the neglect side, this is trauma. Lack of medical care, dental, and immunizations. Like, as a kid, growing up, I barely went to the doctor. Now I go all the time. I have only been to the dentist twice in my life. Disgusting, I know. My teeth might look okay, but I don't know if they actually are. And when I was in high school, like, I never had an eye test ever. Like, I don't know what's a normal time to have your eyes tested, but, like, I never had them tested until high school because my child and youth worker actually got my sister's eyes tested because she was doing really awful in school, and it was because she couldn't see. And my dad tried on her glasses and was like, I think I need glasses too. So they both got new glasses, and I'm like, the fuck am I, chopped liver? I might need glasses. So I tried on my sister's glasses, and I remember today, like, to this day, I said, this is what it's like to see. Like, I sat in the back row all the time because I didn't want to be noticed. Couldn't see the board at all. And I got headaches all the time. And I failed and did really awful. And it's because I couldn't see it. So I got glasses. And I wear contacts normally. Unusual interaction with parent or caregiver. So, like if my dad came, like, which was rare, but if he came for, like, the parent-teacher interview and then I would go, or, like, if he would pick me up from school the odd time, I'm pretty sure that, like, as an adult, you can probably tell if someone's scared of their own parent, and I was really scared of him, and I'm sure that I displayed that by being, like, overly compliant and not wanting to mess anything up and trying to be perfect all the time. Lack of care, supervision, love, and support. So, like, I was kind of allowed to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and that sounds really cool, and, like, sounds like my dad would be a cool dad because I can do whatever I want, but, like, I drank, I smoked a lot of pot, I'll admit it, when I was younger, and, like, now I'm over it because I already did it, because I wasn't supervised, I could do whatever I wanted, and I was absent from school more often than not. I requested my report cards once I left home, and I was looking through them, and in kindergarten, I'm pretty sure I missed, like, 101 days. Like, that's not, who does that? My parents didn't care. But then once my mom left, like, by grade 5 or 6, my attendance, like, rose because I didn't want to be home with my dad because he got laid off and he was home all the time. So I was like, nope, not staying home now. So, trauma. I had night terrors a lot. Like, I was always woke up in the night just, like, crying and scared because, like, I flashbacks, I guess, in my sleep. Like, oh, that time I got this crap beat out of me, or, you know. Unable to control emotions, anxiety, confusion, agitation, just any emotions. Like I said before, I just wasn't able to control them or express them properly, or and self-mutilation and harm. So by that I mean I made myself throw up, as I said, like shoved the toothbrush as far back as I could in my throat. I cut a lot. I cut my name into my leg. I cut my wrist. And, like, I don't know why I thought that was a good idea at the time. It's because I had control, I think. I don't know. I was like, well, I can control this situation. So the cycle of abuse. So what I kind of mentioned before. There's the tension, the yelling, swearing, threats, the explosion, which is the actual issue, like the physical violence, attacks, sexual attacks, and the honeymoon stage, which is like I said, like, my dad wasn't always an awful guy. He really tried to, like, no, I'm so sorry, it won't happen again. And I'm like, okay, and I cling on, and I'm like, oh, I hope he's right this time. I really hope it doesn't happen again. But
Popping chips, too.
Yeah, popping chips, Mr. Noodles. Yeah, everyone wanted to trade me those for some Dunkaroos. I was like, I'm the cool kid now. So what we can tell victims to help them cope. So, obviously, thank them for trusting you. That's so important. And I know that you guys probably already know this because you're in the field. But, because you might be the first person that they decide to tell, right? Like, you don't know. Maybe they haven't told anyone. And they're like, okay, I'm going to tell this one person and hope that something happens. Listen. Maybe not interrupt them. Just let them get everything out and encourage them to feel and explain how they're feeling. If they're going to cry, don't be like, stop crying. Like, I know you guys know that, but just thought I should say it. Let them know that it isn't their fault and that they're not alone. There are several people out there that are abused or have been abused, and it's not their fault. Like, it's just because their parents or whoever the abuser was took advantage of them because they're children. Like, they aren't able to make the decision. They can't take care of themselves yet. Differentiate that they're a victim maybe in the abuse, but not in life. They can still turn it around, that situation definitely sucked, and that they were a victim, that it's not their fault. But they can turn their life around. Like, they can do well if they want to do well. And express your support. Explain the cycle that I just mentioned previously. Encourage the child or victim to keep positive relationships. As I said, like my best friend. It's really good that I kept that relationship. And there's another girl who I used to hang out with in the complex, so I haven't talked to in years. And Jess surprised me last night when she was over. So we were talking about, like, so much stuff that I didn't remember. She's like, remember this? Do you remember that? And I was like, no! Thanks for letting me know, though. Teach the child the importance and difference of healthy behaviors versus behaviors that they already know. So just let them know, like, you know what, that wasn't normal, that wasn't okay. and then teach them what is okay so that they know and can make those choices on their own in the future. And let them know that with determination, like, the world is theirs. They can do whatever they want. If they decide that they want to be a doctor, they can do it, you know. The kids who need the most love will ask for it in the most unloving of ways. So how true is that? Like, I was either really quiet. When I was younger, I was really quiet in school. But then as I got older, I turned into, like, the biggest shit ever. Like, I was in grade 5, and I remember I threw my chair across the room, and then I wrote on it with permanent marker. I just, like, wrote swear words all over it. I remember one of my teachers was pregnant, and I kicked a ball at her and was like, I don't care. Like, that's awful. But, I mean, obviously, like, knowing the background now, it's kind of why. Things to keep in mind as CYWs. So, fear is a powerful tool that abusers use. Just like I said, my dad was like, well, it's way worse out there, and I was scared because I don't know. Betrayal. So a lot of times, like, I felt like if I ever told on my dad, I was betraying him. Like, the betraying the him that wasn't awful, you know? Like, so let the child know, I guess, that they're not betraying them. They may feel like that, but it's okay. Like, there's a root to all behavior, so remember that. A kid's not just going to wake up and be like, I'm going to be an asshole today. Like, I'm going to I'm going to beat this kid up. Like, no, there's a root to that. Something caused them to do it. So maybe try to look for that so that you can stop it or fix it. Abusers aren't full-time abusers. Like I said, apologies, promises, and bargains. And survival mode. It's, like I said, like, just did whatever I could to help myself get through life and do well. So sometimes kids are just stuck in that survival mode and they don't know what to do. And they're not worried about whether or not they're going to pass their English test. They're worried about, like, surviving life. And so at graduation, we receive a diploma and not a cape. And that's so important because I remember I did one of my placements at Bayfield. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to help these kids. And I'm going to be so great. And I go in and my cape got slammed in the door because you can't help everybody. You can try to, but you can't. If they don't want to be helped or they don't want to do well, like, they won't until they do want to. So child and youth workers can help kids, but we can't fix them. There's nothing that we can do to fix a child or give them back what their abuser's taken from them. You can't take away what happened. You can't make them feel normal or fit in. Once abused, a child will always feel different. I still feel different to this day. There's something about it, like, I just feel different. No matter how many times a child goes to counseling, they won't be fixed. Sure, they may develop coping mechanisms that could prove to be beneficial, but we can't fix children. It's our job and your job to empower the child and help them develop determination to do better for themselves. You won't be there forever, so it's your job to provide them with the tools necessary to be successful in the world. And that's it. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? I never get questions. No one ever wants to ask me anything.
These guys are good at questions. So I have a question for you. I have a few questions. So when your mom left on Christmas, when you were 10 years old, that's like at 10. That's still Christmas is a pretty magical time. So can you talk about how that sort of impacted you going on? Like, so are there things that you notice around Christmas time, or are there things that you notice in terms of the impact of your relationship with your mom because of that? I wonder if you could just talk about that piece.
I hate Christmas. I'll say it. I didn't used to though. Like, I used to really enjoy Christmas. We used to get, like, the food box and, like, you know, the Christmas box that, like, people would donate toys and stuff like that. And it'd be the best because we'd always get stuff and it'd be fun and we'd have dinner together. And on Christmas morning, my mom's side of the family was supposed to come over for dinner and they ended up not coming because my mom left. So after that, we didn't really celebrate it. I don't know if that's kind of what you want me to answer. Like, we didn't really celebrate it all. And, like, a couple of years later, my mom came back every year at Christmas, which just made it so much worse. I'm like, you already left once. Like, why are you coming back? Like, just stop. And I remember one Christmas, actually, my dad had a girlfriend who was there, and my mom came. Super awkward. So much tension at the table. We're sitting there. and my dad's girlfriend stands up and she taps her glass and goes, I have to say something. I'm real thankful for my kids, not me or my sister. Cool. Like, you're an idiot. Like, why are you here? So, I don't know. I just didn't really... Still not a huge fan of Christmas. Ashley's kind of getting me back into it, but she loves Christmas, but I don't know. Does that answer it? I don't know. Yeah.
Jared?
Oh, sorry.
Do you like just feel different during those like times of the year? Like it's just like you kind of try to be like everyone else, but it just doesn't.
Yeah, like it sucks because like I work with little kids too. Like I said, I work in a daycare, so they're really excited about Christmas. Like, oh yeah, Christmas. I'm like, I fucking hate Christmas. I'm not gonna tell you that, but like, why are you so excited for it? You know, and like I try to be excited and I try to like get back into it, but I don't know, just so many memories come back and I'm just so bitter still. And again, that's something I just need to work on, I guess. I don't know if that answers.
I did the same thing. I don't know. I was just.
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
So you don't talk to your mom or dad anymore?
No.
What about your sister?
No. She messaged me on Facebook, and she messages me quite a bit. But I don't talk to her, like, and I know it probably makes me sound like a really awful person, but, like, she lives with my dad, and my dad always told me, like, if you ever leave, I'm going to find you, and I will kill you. Like, he, like, hardcore, like, serious. He always told me, too, like, when I was a kid, like, I'm going to kill you. And like, there's, like, train tracks really close to the house. He's like, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to put you on the train tracks. No one will ever find you. So I was so scared of him, right? So if my sister lives with him, I don't want to put myself in that situation. So I just don't. It's just easier to not talk to her. So I don't talk to any of them. I talk to my cousin. That's about it. Who's on my dad's side of the family. Okay.
How did you find out about your brother?
So weird. My cousin and I, we were drinking one night, and there was an old photo album, and there was I was like, there's pictures in there. I'm like, who's that kid? And she's like, and I'm like, who is that? And she's like, his name's Adam. And I'm like, what? She's like, it's your brother. She's like, that's your dad's son. And he doesn't want to admit that he's his son. And to this day, I don't think that he admits that he's his son. He's older than me. And he, I don't know. Yeah, like I just found out about him. And then he added me on Facebook and was like, hey, what's up? And like, when I found out about him, I kind of creeped him on Facebook. I'm not going to lie. I was like, I want to check you out, see what you're all about. Because my cousin was like, I don't know if, like, you should message him. I don't know that it's a good idea because he's not in a good place. And I was like, well, I don't know that I want to go out of my way, but let's check it out. And then he ended up adding me, and he was pretty cool. Like, so that's how I found out. Yeah.
Is there a holiday that you like now in particular? It's not Christmas? Like...
I like Thanksgiving.
Oh,
I know. I love it because, like, I know, like, it sounds really corny and, like, I had a crap past, but, like, I'm thankful for where I am now.
Can you tell them about this? Remember you came back to school on a Tuesday, and I was like, hey, how's your Thanksgiving?
Oh, yeah. And I was so sad because I lived by myself and, like, I didn't have anyone for Thanksgiving, so I just had, like, a pet rabbit because Sandy was like, you should get a pet. Because I lived on my own, like, a pet might make you happier. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, what am I allowed to have here? And I wasn't allowed to have pets in my apartment, so I lied and said someone got me a pet rabbit, but I totally went and got the pet rabbit. But I was alone, and I came back, and you're like, how was Thanksgiving? I was like, absolute bullshit, and just, like, start bawling. I'm like, I was alone. I didn't even have a dinner. Like, I just hung out with my rabbit all weekend, like, because all my friends went home or went places, right? And I just, normally, like, my friends are really good at, like, inviting me because they know I don't have anywhere to stay, but for some reason that year I didn't have anywhere to go. So then I went to your house the following year for Thanksgiving.
Well, and
cool.
so the thing that really got me, so I had just come back from, like, my family Thanksgiving, and my family is not perfect, and they drive me crazy, but they're there, you know, like, I had my family there, and so I had a good Thanksgiving, so I come in, and I'm all chipper, how was your Thanksgiving? Expecting her to say, great, and it's like, it fucking sucked. And she broke my heart, and you also told me you were stoned all week.
Yeah, I was.
So she sat in her, in her basement apartment, smoking dope, feeling sad, and having nobody, and I was like, okay.
Sitting on my bathroom floor in my bathroom with music just getting so high by myself.
Yeah. And it broke my heart. And because I had known lots about your story before that, but I just was living in this Pollyanna dreamland. Like everybody has a lovely Thanksgiving, and that was your last year in the program. So I don't normally invite students to my house.
Sorry, that's all.
That's okay. No, the reason I was okay with it was because I made the promise to you.
Yeah,
You
next
were graduating,
year you're not
and I said
gonna be
next
alone.
year after you graduate, if you do not have somebody to spend Thanksgiving with, you are coming to my house. And then it was about 2 or 3, and I had totally forgotten about it. It was about 2 or 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. I get this email from Christie. Hey,
I
how are
invited
you
myself
doing?
over. Hey girl, save me a spot.
She didn't invite herself, but you sent me this email, and all of a sudden this triggered, and I was like, oh my god, I made a promise to her last year. So I was like, how are you doing? You know, are you seeing anybody? You know, what are your plans for Thanksgiving? And she's like, I am seeing somebody. Yep. And so anyway, so Christy and her partner came over for dinner, and it turned out that they knew my nephew from the YMCA.
From the daycare,
it was fantastic. But the reason I could invite Christy was because at that point she had graduated. She wasn't a student any longer. I felt okay that boundary was good. But it was really, for me, it was a huge eye-opener, and just that reminder that about the individuality of people's experiences, and not to just assume that everybody's experience is the same as yours. And I think that's our natural inclination to kind of do that piece. But it was really powerful. So I'm really happy to hear you say that Thanksgiving is a positive, happy experience for you now. And I remember you posting something on Facebook at Christmas this year about having enjoyed Christmas
Finally
more.
Having,
it felt like a more
family
positive experience.
Yeah, support. Just being thankful for it, I guess. Yeah. It's just not something that I have.
Cool. I wonder if you can talk a little bit about your feelings in response to the church, right? Because it started out being a really positive, supportive, this family.
Yeah.
And then sort of switched to a real betrayal when you came out. So I wonder if you can kind of talk a little bit more about that for these guys.
Well, I'm bitter. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm going to go back. Like, I don't know if I'm never going to go back to church, but not that church, definitely, because Pentecostals are very against gay people. And it's so messed up because, like, I did so much awful stuff. Like, they were okay with me smoking pot in my bathroom alone, but they weren't okay with me being gay. Like, what? You know what I mean? And the thing that got me too was, like, you're not going to make it to heaven because of the choices you made. Like, do you think anyone chooses to be gay? Like, I didn't choose this. That's the last thing I wanted. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's just so frustrating. I'm still confused about it. I just don't get it. You know, like, it's 2015. Like, people are still out there like that. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, and a couple other people I found out because I have them on Facebook, like friends, they're kicked out of church too because they are gay. So there's 2 other people too that got kicked out. So I don't know. I just don't get it.
Do people have any other questions or comments for Christy?
It's all in the card.
Thanks.
Sweet.
You talked about not keeping contact with your dad, obviously for good reason.
Yeah.
Do you think you've ever tried to either ask, forgive them? Like that forgiveness piece?
I don't know. See, because I know that it's probably important for me to forgive them, not for them, but for myself. And I guess maybe in a sense I kind of have. Like, they don't know. But, like, taking this program, I learned so much. Like, I learned that, like, my parents weren't just dicks because they were dicks. Like, there's a reason why. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of get it more now. But I don't know. Like, Ashley always asks me that, too. Like, do you think you're ever going to talk to them again? And I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't know. I think some doors maybe should just be kept closed. Like, I don't think I will. Because it's not worth it for me. Like, when I talk, like, my sister, if she messages me on Facebook, or, like, if, you know, I see, like, because sometimes when I'm home, I see my parents. Like, I saw my dad at my doctor's office. Like, I was so friggin' small. I didn't, like, sat right across from me, didn't look at me, nothing. Just pretended I wasn't even there. So, I just don't know, like, how that would ever happen. Like, how would I even go about it kind of thing? And if it's worth it. Like, I'd have to be, like, in a pretty good mental spot to be able to do it, like, mentally, I guess. I don't know if that answers. Yeah.
One of my best friends was a survivor of abuse, and she's not able to really talk about it.
Yeah.
But I know she still struggles a lot with, like, residual anger and, like, a hard time forgiving. And because she's not at the point where she can talk about it, what sort of advice would you give someone else who has survived
That's a
to
good
sort of, to
question.
kind of help them.
That's a really good question, and I've never been asked that before. I don't know, because for me it's been 7 years. Like, I know that doesn't seem like that long, but I don't know. I guess just everyone's different, and for me, I just felt like if I didn't share my story, that it happened for no reason. Like, I don't want to just I don't want to be abused and that's it. I want to be able to use it, even if I didn't know that sounds so corny, but even if I can help one of you guys, that's important to me. Like, if I can just share it and get it out, because you feel so much better once it's out too. Like, it's just so much off your shoulders if you're able to. And I don't know, I don't really, just, she'll know when she's ready, or he will know they're ready.
Yeah. And that piece for you, I think, happened in the trauma and loss course, right? When you did the photo essay.
Yeah, I wrote about it first before, because we have to do that. We have to write your story. Mm-hmm. So I wrote my whole story out first, and then once I had it out on paper, I was kind of like, okay, I think I can talk about it.
It's just I know how you said you had that childhood friend that you was always like,
yeah.
Do you remember when?
Yeah.
That's me with her.
Yeah.
We grew up together. So do you remember when your mom was growing a garden of tomato plants?
Yeah, things like that, and I don't remember.
Tomato plants.
Yeah.
So it's just it was interesting to hear your perspective, because I can't get that with her.
Yeah.
So hoping that one day she can get to your point.
Yeah, at some point for sure.
So I was just curious, if there's any advice how I could help her.
Yeah. Maybe, like I said, writing it out really was helpful, though.
But not easy.
No, definitely it's hard, and I cried and it sucked, but just getting it out and kind of looking at it, and I don't know, I find now even with work, when I do notes for my child's behavior who I work with, I have to write an antecedent, the behavior and the consequence, and so the antecedent's what happened before, what was going on, were there any noises, stuff like that, and I'm when I write it out, I'm I didn't even realize, but yeah, someone was right there and they were being so loud near him, and I don't know, when you're in the situation, you don't really notice things, but when you write it out, you're oh, okay. So I don't know if they write, but maybe writing might be helpful. I don't know. It helped me anyway. Everyone's different.
Thank you.
No worries. Yeah.
I have a question for your partner if she's comfortable.
Yeah.
That's all you ask.
Okay. I was wondering, just from your perspective, if it's affected you at all in your relationship, or as, in your role, if there's things that you can do that best supports her when she's having a tough time.
Yeah, there's definitely things I can do. It's difficult because she's pretty stubborn, and she kind of says exactly what she does not want. She'll just tell me to go away or something, but what she really wants is for me to be there and cuddle her and whatever. So just do everything opposite of what she asks. You just kind of have to read her, I think.
We've been together almost 2 years. You kind of know now.
But I guess just listen to her. That's the best thing, and just show her love and support when she comes down. I think that's.
It's not really a question, it's just random. I just heard you say it a few times. It just jogs something that my mom always says. You said, I know it sounds really corny, you said it a few times, and my mom always says that. The corny things are often the real things. So.
Oh, thank you.
There's something for me.
I wonder, you talked a couple times about sort of this idea of the ideal perfect relationship, because you didn't have that growing up, right? You grew up in an abusive situation, and that's what you knew as normal in those circumstances. So you've come out of that now and recognized that that's not the way everybody lives, and that so you have this idea of the ideal perfect relationship. How does that? Well, so how does that impact you guys in terms of your relationship?
That doesn't help. I don't know. I always think things should be a certain way, but I try to I don't know. I feel like everything should be perfect, and if they're not perfect, or if they even go off course a little bit, or if I have plans or they don't run the right way, or in my head, what's the right way? I just get so anxious, and it's not good. I don't know. Freak out.
So it takes more ability then to talk about that stuff.
Yeah,
and yeah.
I don't know. I say I have this ideal perfect picture, and part of me knows that's not right either. So I don't know. I'm just still learning. I guess I'm just trying to figure out what is right. I guess, and maybe I just need to chill out and just like have a relationship and not worry about it. I overanalyze things too, so it's just bad. But I think a lot of people, girls, do. Yeah.
Do you talk to any other people in your family, or did you just kind of like leave it all?
Like I have some of my aunts, like on my mom's side, they like one lives in BC, one lives in like London, Ontario. So like I have them on Facebook, and like sometimes they'll comment on my stuff, but like that's the extent of it. And then I have a cousin who lives in Belleville who we might actually visit today. She just had a baby, and she has 2 kids now, and I've only met the first one once, and now she's like a kid, like going to school soon, like so we might visit her. But yeah, my cousin and then a couple of aunts, but that's about it.
Do you find it hard not having family?
I feel like I should say yes, but I don't, because I just am like, I just try to minimize it and not think about it. I don't know. I think, like I said, like if I just sat there and thought about how shitty it really was, like I don't know that I'd even be here. And it's like really deep stuff to say, but I don't know. I just can't sit around and be like, oh, that sucks. Sometimes I do, of course. I have days where I'm like, this sucks. But for the most part, I try not to be like that. Yeah, try not to think about it.
Can I just add a piece there too that I know about you is so one of the things that I know that you've done in terms of your relationship with Ashley and the folks that you are including in your life are the people who are positive and who are supportive and who are there to give you that positive influence, to give you that family. So it's not a biological family, it's not a blood family, but this is your family of people around you. Yeah,
my friends are my family.
Yeah, it's surrounding yourself with those people who give you that love and support, right?
Yeah. So you talked about growing up in like your income housing and then going back and doing placement there. Is there anything else you would like to see change within?
More like family stuff. Like I don't know, they don't really focus on that. Like the kids like don't really. Maybe they do now, but like never really got out or like I don't know. Like I tried to get the kids out and involved. Like that was my goal, was like to get the kids to come out and like clean everything up, like clean up in the yard, and then they get pizza after. Like, come out and like just hang out with each other, you know what I mean? So that they know that there are other kids there, not just sitting in their house like doing nothing, and doing something like productive and like positive, not getting in trouble. So I don't know.
I'd love to see them restructure the way Ontario works so that teenagers can get jobs and start to make money and not have that impact the family's income, right? Because it would have just given you so many more skills to have been able to start working, you know, when you turn 16 or 17.
Yeah. The funniest thing was they do, like in housing, they give people who are going to college or graduated and want to go to college, you can apply for a bursary, I think. And I applied for it and I got it. It's so funny because my supervisor that signed it, like 2 years, I got it and I used it. And like 2 years later, I did my placement there and she was my boss, Sandy. Mm-hmm. So I have my reference letter from her and that letter still with both the signatures. And I'm like, that's so weird. And like when I left home, like it's probably bad, but like if you lived in geared income housing or really know anything about it, you know that like you can't be overhoused and like you can't have people living in the basement or, you know, like people just can't live there. So when I left, I called housing and I was like, I just want you to know, Tony's overhoused by 1, underhoused, sorry, like I left, so there's an extra room there, so you might want to like give that to someone. And then I called Ontario Works and was like, just want you to know that Tony has a girlfriend living there and that she's on disability, so you might want to look into that. And I think, get a back pay, like pay them back. So like, that's what you get. So that's like all I can do to like get back at them, I'll do it.
Any other questions?
Do your experiences change the way you look at the field? Like, have you ever made a report to CAS about any kids you worked with or anything?
I haven't. Luckily, I haven't had to. Like, nobody's really like said it. I don't know. I've worked like on the ship. Like, I haven't really, as much as I wanted to, like work in the field with kids who are like obviously struggling and like be a counselor and stuff like that. I haven't like luckily had to run into that. Like, I mostly just work with kids who have autism or like nonverbal and stuff like that, so I haven't had to report, luckily. But if I did, obviously I would, because doing a report, we have to. So it's
So do you think you'd be more sensitive to like the signs of abuse?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think that would be like a trigger for you having to call, or do you think you feel like more proud and good about yourself knowing that you can make that call?
Probably both. My guy that I work with right now, like, I love my job and I love my guy, but it was so hard getting used to the job that I have right now because he hits me all the time and he pinches me, and it's because he's nonverbal, right? So he has no other way to communicate with me, so that's what he does. He's not trying to hurt me, he's trying to get my attention. So like last summer, I've been working with this boy for a year now, and he's 8 and he stands up to like here on me. Like, he's a pretty big boy. He looks like he's probably 12 or like 11. And like when I first started working with him, that's something that happened was he pinched me all the time. He bit me. Same stuff that my dad would have done. So I was having nightmares for like the first month, and I was almost like, I don't know if I can do this. But I was like, no, I'm doing it. I'm not like, I don't want to be that person. And it's funny because now at work, like, no one will even cover my 1 hour lunch break because no one wants to work with this little boy. I'm the only one that will, so I can't give up now, you know. So it kind of was hard and did bring triggers, but I do it. I like it. Thanks.
One of the things I wanted to address is the fact that, so today in this talk that you did, you mentioned the fact that you were mean to your pets when you were a kid.
I didn't want to mention that because it's fucked up. But
Well, that wasn't going to be what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry.
So what I was
really tried to skip past that fast.
I know you did, and I
You noticed that.
Yeah. So what I want to say about that is that I think it takes a ton of courage for you to admit that. And it's incredibly powerful because it's so important for you guys to understand that piece. That is a huge red flag. When you see kids who are being aggressive to their pets or animals around them or other kids, it often comes from a place of being hurt or being sad or being angry and not having an appropriate way of venting those feelings. And so I'm so glad you said that because look at it now, right? It causes shame in you. I know, like, yeah, she is such an animal lover. You can't even imagine. So it's totally out of character with who Christie is, and that's why I love the fact that you admitted it because it's like this contrast of two sides of a coin, right? But I think it speaks to the depth of the hurt that was going on in you as a kid and not having any place to vent that. That was the place where the pot just kind of boiled over and that behavior came out. So that message, I think, is so important for you guys to understand about seeing past the behaviors. So don't look at a kid who's hurting their pet and think that kid's an asshole. Think about Christie and think about the fact that that's not what it's about at all. It's about looking past the behavior and seeing and trying to really understand where that's coming from. And if you ask a kid, why did you do that? They can't tell you. You have to use your spy skills and sort of figure it out, but get to the bottom of what's going on because there's something else behind it. There's absolutely always something else behind that behavior. So you have to see past the behavior to see the child inside.
And what's really messed up about that is, like, growing up in the complex, we'd all kind of hang out and, like, go for walks, like, down by the dam here. And, like, other kids that I hung out with, like, did it too. Like, there was, like, a frog one time, like, hopping by. And they took the frog and just shoved this is so gross, shoved a stick up its ass and out its mouth. And, like, that was normal. We're all like, cool. You know what I mean? That's not cool. That's gross. Like,
Yeah.
But we're all like, cool. Like, it's okay with all of us. Like, that shouldn't be okay with all of us. At least one of us should have been like, that's probably not a good idea. We didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's concerning. And I remember as a kid, my girlfriend, I was in grade 7 or 8, I think, and went to my girlfriend's house. And her little brother was about 5 or 6. And he had been out in the barn behind the house stabbing chickens with a fork, like little baby chicks. Sorry, not chickens, but he had been out stabbing chicks with a fork. And it was one of those things that I was like, how can somebody do that at the time? But at that age, I had no understanding. But I'll tell you, when I started learning about child abuse, that little boy has stuck in my head. And my girlfriend, I think back now to things that she did and said at the time that were just kind of weird, at the time. I look back on it now and I know exactly what was going on in that household. But, as a kid, you don't know, right? But you guys going into the field, when you see those behave, if something just doesn't feel right, there's likely something more to it. Crazy.
Yeah, that's what my CAS worker said too. She said I had that spidey sense that something was going on, but without you saying anything, like or without us finding anything, you know, there's nothing we could do. And I'm just like, well, it's really cool for you to tell me without me saying anything. Like, I have to do your job for you. And like, you know what I mean? But they always say that if you have that spidey sense, chances are you're probably right. Like, if your gut's telling you, like, this isn't right, probably not. So maybe we can do it a little more. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for Christie? Jer?
Hearing you like say all your flaws with a smile on your face was really nice,
Thanks.
especially like for all of us that haven't worked in the field yet. I think it helps people know that you don't have to be like perfect model citizens. I know I'm not one. Probably a lot of other people are too. It's nice to hear that, I guess.
I try not to be serious all the time, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I just came in here, or like if somebody else came in here and was so serious telling the whole story, and I'll be half gone, I'm sure. Like, yeah, you'd be like, see ya, it's 8 a.m. and that sucks already, and now this person is so fucking boring. And you just leave. No offense.
Not take
8 a.m.
it. They wouldn't be. They wouldn't be here. All right. So I have a little thank you gift for you.
Thank you.
So there's some chocolate and water. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story.